Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here, and in today's video we're going to talk about Immortals Fenyx Rising and the 5 things that I love about this game, most of which were kind of surprises. I've actually spent around 15 hours of game time in it so far, and I plan to continue and hopefully beat the main storyline. But I had some expectations going into this game, and this game really surpassed those expectations, and I've actually went ahead and partnered with Ubisoft Canada in this video to tell you about the game. So thank you so much to Ubisoft Canada for sponsoring this video. They wanted to let you know that Immortals Fenyx Rising is the mythological game of the winter, and it is available now. All opinions expressed in this video are my own and 100% honest. So the first thing that really stands out about this game instantly is the art style, and that includes the graphics and visuals. You'll see by watching the video that they're using all the colors of the spectrum in this game, and the cartoony style really plays well with the Greek mythology and the kind of fantasy of the open world. It's not a secret that Ubisoft likes to make some of the best looking console games out there, and this game doesn't disappoint in that department either, although it achieves it a little bit differently since it's not a photorealistic game. Here, the graphics are impressive because of the amount of effects that are able to be on screen at the same time, and the visual clarity of your attacks versus the attacks of your enemies, and what it looks like when you dodge and parry. All of that stuff looks phenomenal and fits in the world as you would expect it. And for that, it deserves a big applause. And this kind of cartoonish style will go down even into the characters, which you'll see in the cutscenes during the story. The graphics and art in this game are just able to kind of bring together the entire world and enhance the experience. Now, the second most important thing that I like, and I think that is important to why I'm enjoying this game so much, is the combat itself. When you first start out with the game, you kind of start off with a basic light and heavy attack. You learn a little bit about the dodge and parry, which you'll quickly adapt into your arsenal if you actually want to be able to, beat the bosses and stuff. But as you get through the game, you start unlocking ability points, and then you can unlock further attack moves, like a giant hammer that rains from above, or these spikes that come out of the ground and can lift up enemies so you can juggle them in the air. And this is where the game really starts to open up in terms of combat. You have a ton of abilities you can kind of upgrade into for your playstyle. I think some of the abilities are kind of more overpowered than others, and you'll probably want to gravitate towards those. Personally, the hammer, I love that, and starting out with a good stealth attack is also really important in a lot of fights, in my opinion. But this is where kind of the easy to play but hard to master aspect of the game comes to mind. I did find a couple of fights that were really difficult early on in the game, and all I had to do was kind of upgrade my character a little bit and come back a little bit later, and I found that some new moves I hadn't had yet when I first tried it were pretty essential to that fight. So you're always going to be getting better and better as long as you are keeping an eye out for those ability points and then spending them when you have them. The game also did a really good job with just general variety of enemies, enemy types, and how you interact with those enemies. You're going to have a lot of epic boss battles, but in between all those boss battles, there's also a ton of different types of enemies you'll fight on your way from area to area, which I thought was a nice touch. It wasn't just the same character to fight over and over. Now, the third thing I really liked about this game and that surprised me was its approachability. This game is pretty casual and can be enjoyed by both casual gamers and hardcore gamers at the same time. There are a lot of difficulty options, which I think is usually pretty good. And I think it also has a pick up and play style that not a lot of other open world games adopt. The game also makes itself more approachable by not just being about combat all the time. There are quite a bit of puzzles in the open world section as well as in the vaults, which are some of my favorite parts of the game. And a lot of the puzzles are the type where you just kind of try things until you figure it out. And they're not necessarily these overarching obscure puzzles where you either know it or you don't. This approachability goes all the way down to the core game design in the sense that even with things like weapons, all you really have to worry about is the weapon's ability All of the weapons will do the same amount of damage. There's no weapon levels. This allows you to just kind of jump in, pick a weapon that looks cool, maybe has a useful ability to the way you play, and you are good to go. If you are upgrading your character, you're also upgrading all your gear with you, and you don't have to worry about a super complex skill tree that can go in 15 different directions. If you like an attack, upgrade that attack. If you like a weapon, just keep using that weapon. The fourth thing that I liked about Immortals Fenyx Rising is that it's actually pretty funny and lighthearted, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which when you're playing a lot of video games is a welcome change. The game itself has a lot of storytelling moments, and they could have just spit straight facts at you all the time, but instead they actually gave the characters some personality and made them tell jokes here and there to kind of just lighten up the overall tone and mood of the game. They'll also do things like consistently break the fourth wall. You'll have inner dialogue of Greek gods. They kind of chit-chat between each other and argue a little bit too. And it just kind of adds to the overall fun of the game and the not take itself too seriously aspect. Last but not least, the fifth thing I love the most about Immortals Fenyx Rising is the Greek mythology influence, and it is extremely heavy in this game, and it's also just told in a way that is relatable and easily understandable. You'll be having chit-chats with Zeus and Prometheus. Achilles makes his appearance. You have people like Aphrodite, Nike, the goddess of victory, and everyone else you've probably heard of countless times from either textbooks in school or just modern adaptations you've seen in things like movies. Going into this game, I knew the basics of some of these Greek gods and goddesses, but after playing this game, I actually learned like a fair bit of their backstory and how they're all related and, you know, who's good, who's evil, who's on what side, and it actually kind of educated me a little bit on the topic, and I think that's pretty cool. If you're a fan of the subject matter, I think this game does a pretty swell job of laying it all out there. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it was helpful or fun to watch. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe for future videos. Thanks again to Ubisoft Canada for sponsoring the video. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace.